talks, so I would like to warmly welcome you all during our interview with such wonderful guests who are doing an amazing work with the international cooperation, with other people from other cultures, other scientific environments made by and international reasons different. And our guests today are Züleyha Rashid from the Wrocław University of Science and Technology. Hi, Züleyha.
Hello.
Violeta Lewandowska from the University of Białystok.
Hi.
Zuzanna Kiwerska-Sobolewska from the University of Warsaw.
Hi.
Hi. A very deep description of our guests because no one could do this better than themselves. So this is my first question to you, to describe your background, your academic background, and maybe say a few things about the projects that you have been involved that require international cooperation. Maybe you could mention some institutions that you have already worked with, or institutions that you are working with. So maybe we start from Züleyha Rashid. Can you say some words, please?
Okay, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Züleyha Rashid, specifically from Pakistan, currently pursuing my PhD research in Polytechnica Wrocławska here. And by profession and academic background, I am an environmentalist specifically and researcher who is conducting some researches based on the environmental pollution, specific area based on the microplastics. And I have been a part of two projects, one from Thailand and one is my current project, PhD project I'm working on, but both are related to the microplastics. So the project I have been a part in Thailand was conversion of plastics to energy project. So we were using the plastic waste and converting into some kind of fuels and using in the cement industry. And that was a project, is an international collaboration with the Japan and Thailand and between Myanmar. And right now I am working on my PhD project. That is, we are looking for a collaboration between China and our university.
Thank you. So as I heard lastly, the microplastic is a very hot topic recently. So additional question, was this collaboration that you described were concluded with some joint publication or conference or some event about microplastic?
Yeah, well, I had experience to join a lot of conferences in Thailand and present my research specifically. So when I was working on the project in Thailand, I went to present my research in Japan and also in Romania. So I have a wide experience of presenting this kind of research, specifically if it belongs to the project. So that's why I strongly suggest, or I strongly believe that if your research belongs to some specific kind of project or international collaboration, so you will get more chance and more connection in a scientific community.
Perfect that you are sharing this experience widely. Violeta, can I ask you to describe yourself briefly?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's nice to see and hear you all. So I am a microbiologist and I specialize in molecular research on bacteria. I cooperate with scientists from Argentina, Kazakhstan, and my project was involved working with last international bacteria that produced biosurfactants and biopolymers. We have for 3 months we hosted a PhD students from Al-Farabi University in Almaty from Kazakhstan and our Department of Microbiology and Biotechnology, and she provided us with bacteria from Kazakhstan oil field. So this was research material that we would not have been available to us in other circumstances, you know. So we can work with oil bacteria, and I think that was a great opportunity to try to work with a new organism. And
does it have something in common with the microplastic or not really?
Not really. More with the process with producing oils and try to fight with pollution of the oil connected pollution and things like that. So kind of ecology studies, but on different topic.
Okay, I'm from the social sciences. That's why I asked this question. Okay, Zuzanna, can it be your turn to say something about your academic experience?
Yeah, hi, it's lovely to be here. I am Zuzanna Kiwerska-Sobolewska, and I'm speaking more from the humanistic/social sciences point of view. So it's interesting to hear the microbiologists talking. The project was about writings of Italo Calvino, and I had an Italian supervisor for that project. So I from the start, I really wanted to have those international connections because it's lovely to see different perspectives. Then I moved more towards social sciences and mental health research. So my first big international project was a project from Erasmus+. It was called Ellipse. So the project was about creating a internationally recognized app for mental health, for helping people up to age 25 with mental health crisis, with developing skills of low anxiety care. So we are working between different countries, trying to understand the current needs of the youngest, so 18 to 25 cohort. And it was interesting because I was creating like movies for the app, and we needed to go between different languages and how to talk in different languages about mental health and this very basic idea of calming yourself or lowering amount of anxious thoughts. Then I moved to a more specific field of deaf studies, which is currently my subject of my PhD. And I got Diamond Grant from Ministry of Education in Poland. And with Diamond Grant, I was able to go to the United States for the first time. So I collaborated with Gallaudet University, which is the only liberal arts university in the whole world that operates in American Sign Language. So it was like a month of research in Gallaudet University and in Washington, D.C. And currently I'm a Fulbright junior student researcher at University of Illinois at Chicago, which I'm currently still at my Fulbright. So, and it's a whole thing to be in a university as a researcher, not a visiting researcher, but a part of the community. So this is what I'm experiencing now.
Thank you so much, Susanna. It would be really great to hear from you about the experience, especially that you are working with the Italians, with different like culture, temper than Polish people, and you are already working on language, and we all know that language. Understanding the language depends not only on the words, but on the context, on the cultural things, say words in Polish translated into, for example, Italian means something totally different. So it would be really nice to hear from you how are your feelings about the collaboration here in the later questions. Okay, Matej, can you say some words about your background, your experience, your academical stories?
Firstly, thank you for having me here. And my name is Matej. I am an agronomist. I'm currently employed in the Legium Legacy project and doing my PhD thesis in this project. So this is part of Maria Skłodowska-Curie Action funded by Horizon Europe. So there is cohort of 10 PhD students, me included, so 11 doctorants doing their work in this project. And so it's there are 15 partnering institutions within this project. So we have a lot of intersectorial and a lot of training exercises within the different leading institutions. So we have these 8 training events throughout these courses. We have 2 secondments that are mandatory for our project. So there is a lot of international connections within the project, which for me it's a great thing.
Yeah, and it would be also a great thing to hear about it in the later questions. Adam, can you say some words?
Yes, sure. So once again, thank you for the invitation, because it's a huge pleasure for me to say a few words about my work, my international cooperation, and my projects which I participated. So first of all, I'm a PhD student from Gdańsk University of Technology. I'm currently on the fifth year of it. I'm a material engineer and I work with the plastics. I synthesize new bio-based plastics. So I think my topic is a little bit related to the Zulaka topic about the microplastics. So almost similar, because we also try to help the world with our new materials. And what can I say about my international cooperation? I currently work with 2 institutes from Europe. We already finished one project about the development of a new type of polyurethane foams, and the second one is in collaboration with one of the Spanish universities in Basque Country, and this project is about development of new type of polyurethane wood composites. So I'm a polyurethane guy, and I also work for the Łukasiewicz Research Network in the Institute of Poznań. And what I'm doing here, I starting the collaboration with the international partners in terms of the Eranet programs and Polish-Turkish programs. So I also have some experience in starting the collaboration and writing the project. So I think it was very, very, very interesting thing in my in this year, because I'm starting the cooperation with them this year. So I think I developed really nice skills in writing the projects and looking for the collaboration. So maybe about this later, so I will pass my voice to Alexandra.
Thank you, Adam. And it seems after all your introductions that you do many things connected with the international cooperation. So I wonder if you have any space in your life for other activities. So please tell me, what was your motivation to start the international cooperation? What is motivating you to continue this cooperation? And Adam, maybe you will be the first. Now we are going to have the reverse order.
Sure, not the problem. I expected that, because I'm usually make the same thing, that I'm starting the reverse order during the second question. So what motivated me? There is a lot of things which motivated me to set up the international collaboration and to develop it. First of all, during my research for my PhD thesis, we noticed that we need some additional research methods. So we don't have few machines in my university, and luckily we have few friends outside the Politechnika Gdańsk, outside my university, and we wrote to them few emails if we can make some research with them, if they are interested in doing so, and they were laboratories for us, the new experience, and I always wanted to go for few internships. For this moment, I had 2 internships, one in Latvia, the second one in Spain, and I think it is a huge honor for a PhD student to have such an experience. It is, like I said, mind-blowing for the PhD student what he can see outside the Poland and and how other processes looks like there. So basically, I learned a lot of things, starting from how to project the experiments, how work in the lab should look like, how to increase the safety in my lab. So it really developed not only my communication skills, but also my scientific knowledge. And the next very important thing is the opportunity to get along with the mentors, with the professors from other universities. It also very important to share our project, our ideas with other people to develop our ideas, because sometimes we close in with our ideas in our small research teams. For example, my research team has only 5 persons at this moment, but 2 years ago we were only 3. And sometimes you just your point of view is really not so wide, and it helped us to get some new ideas for our idea, and that's why that's why you get an opportunity to develop new projects for a future. So it's also very important.
Thank you, Adam. And regarding what you said about maybe not yet implementing, but finding new solutions, it's really important. But I don't know if you feel this regret when you meet the barriers that you cannot implement some things because of many things. For example, cultural things. Maybe not in the technical sciences or natural sciences, but it's very common in social sciences or humanities. So, Mari, can you tell about yourself, about your motivation to establish and continuing international cooperation?
Thank you. So even during my studies, my bachelor and master studies, I went to Erasmus 3 times. So I think the first time that you went to, when you have some international experience, you just want it more and more, because every time it's something novel. It's and like my colleague said before, you want to learn how other people, their thought process, how do they work, how do they function on a daily basis. And I think every time when you have some of these international experiments, you come back enlightened, let's say like that, and more motivated. You learn a lot, and I think it's a precious thing to have. And the abilities now with the European Union and the amount of grants that we have for the international exchanges, I think this is the great thing, and we hope that it will continue like this and maybe even more. And so within my project now, like I said, we have 15 partnering institutions. So I didn't have to initiate cooperation, because we are already in this project altogether, and now it's just on us. And when we have these training events, any network, we need to collaborate, and great things will happen from that.
Yes, and I would also love to hear in the later questions how to, try to maybe not avoid, but fight with this shyness, and to give some tips for those who are too shy to go out with their ideas, usually because of the language barriers, let's say. It would be very interesting to hear about some tips in the later questions, how to fight with that. So Zuzanna, what about you? Because you seems like very motivated. International cooperation.
Yes, I am, because at heart I'm a traveler. So it was, to be quite frank, it was an amazing thing to be able to travel for work and to learn about different academic cultures that way. So it's not an accessible space when you're just traveling just to see stuff, right? It's a way to learn how different communities operate, and exactly like people said before, I think it's a bit different in humanities, where we don't necessarily seek special equipment that's available in different unis, but there is ways of thinking that are not necessarily accessible only through texts, and you need to be in contact with people, work with them, to be able to learn how they think, how they operate, how they create what we call academia. And I think it's also a great resource in terms of what motivated me to create a more accessible university, a community that's more focused on creating equality as the most important part of a workspace. And I think also as a woman in academia, as Alexandra said, humanities and social sciences can be a bit harsh sometimes in terms of who gets to speak. So I think going abroad is a great way to build your self-confidence and your courage. So that were my motivators.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you said that, because not many of us, of people in academia, are aware of it. So it is needed to be said a little words about it. Violeta, what is your motivation to make international experience?
So I think that today's science does not exist without international cooperation, especially in case of the science and technology. And also my supervisor is known for international cooperation, so she always requires the same from me, and it was very easy for me to work with international environment. And as I said earlier, such cooperation gives you access to new research objects, new technology. Scientists can share know-how, laboratory know-how. It's a very important skills which you can't find in academic handbooks. It's like this kind of skills which start with words. I show you how to do it because it works for us, so maybe it works for you. So it's very important to try to see the new perspective and exchange the research experience between us, scientists.
Violeta, you should definitely say to the lawyers that the science does not exist without the international cooperation, because they are the group of people which are the most doubtful about that. Thank you, Violeta. Zulakha, can you tell us what is your motivation to establish such huge international cooperation activities?
It was really nice to hear about the motivation of my colleagues, and my motivation is quite similar with all of them. I have three basic motivations behind my international cooperation. First of all, I would like to work with different mindsets, different culture, different kind of people, like with different mentalities. So like if we have a chance to work with different mentalities, so there is a different perspective to look at the problem and to find a solution. So that was my first, we can say, the motivation. Second motivation is what Adam just mentioned about the resource optimization. So if we have international collaboration with different institutes, with different universities, professors, so that means we can optimize the resources. We can use the equipments, we can grab more funding, and we can work with more effective way. And the third, last but not the least, is the career advantages. So if you are working with the research projects, specifically with the global perspective and the international cooperation, so there is a chance that you can collaborate further in the future, or that will be a pathway specifically for the researchers, as we are all are PhD candidates here, PhD students here specifically, and we are researchers. So most of the PhD students, they are scientists and researchers, I would say. So this is like a big and strong point where they can build and move on to the career advantages and can proceed with the international collaboration, using the networking, using the expertise and the skills they learn with the international collaboration, and working with a different mindset. Specifically, like I am from Pakistan and I have experience to work with the international organizations and collaboration for the last 6 years. So specifically in my master's, I collaborate on my research with the Thai people, Thai mindset, and the Japanese mindset. So it was like quite different for me to understand about the people there, about the culture there, about their mindset, how they look at the problem, and what are their approaches to solve that. And right now here in Poland, it's like totally different for me. And when we will go to the language barrier, I will highlight a lot about what I face as an international student. But these are my three main motivations why I choose international collaboration, and why I put myself in this kind of circumstances.
Yes, we definitely reach out this question because it's extremely important while talking about the international cooperation. But now the next questions may be a little bit connected with the previous questions. Some of you has already mentioned some things about this. About how did you initiate or how did you start the international collaboration for your projects? Maybe you can share some tips. I mean, some basic things, how it looked like you wrote an email to someone, like someone approached to you and say, hey, I'm doing the same like you do, and let's do something together. And can we start again from Adam with this question?
Sure, no problem. You surprised me a little bit. So first of all, I think the most often method how we start the cooperation is by our internal contacts. So, for example, our professor was in the internship, or he knows someone who knows someone, and then we asked them if they are open for us, and possibly we can start the cooperation with them. I think it's the most often method which I noticed in my university with cooperation with my friends. The second thing is the networking, but the networking during the international conferences. For example, you're going to the conference, you have the poster session, you have your talk, and during this and during the poster session and after your talk, you will have an opportunity to meet the people with similar or quite similar experience, which can be open for a collaboration with you. Recently, I'm started to looking for the partners in the international projects, and sometimes you don't know people with the similar experience or the experience you need. So I'm started to looking for the systems which can help me in such a process. And for example, the system which helped me the most was the partner finder, European partner finder, which allows to search for for the proper partner using some filters, and then you can easily find the universities are the most important ones which helped me. And what you also can meet a lot of different challenges during this process. And in my opinion, the biggest challenge was to face my own fears. My own fears to start the conversation with other institutes, with other scientists. And when I overcome this stress, now it's totally easy for me, but I understand these people which have such a problems. It could be stress that you are not good enough scientist, or for example, your CV is not good developed, or for example, your language skills are not the best. It could be different problems which can stop you for taking this collaboration. And you also mentioned before about this cultural differences. I can tell you that we are developing the cooperation with Turkish partners, and I can see a few cultural differences between our methods to start the collaboration. And one funny thing, because I made a small mistake during planning a meeting, because I forgot that we have time lapse between the countries, and I planned the meeting and I showed in the different hour, but luckily it was 2 hours before the meeting, not 2 hours after the meeting. But if it will be 2 hours before, it will be way much worse. But luckily, it was 2 hours later on. So I hope you will always remember this mistake and plan the meeting in the proper hour with planning the time lapse.
Okay, thank you, Adam. So maybe talking about the time lapse, we move to the Zuzanna because she is in the different time zone that probably we are, because I didn't ask you where you are right now, in which country. So Zuzanna, can you tell about how did you start technically your international cooperation?
Okay, so just to get back to the time difference, it's important to check when the hours are changing in different countries, because it's not the same day, and I learned the hard way too. Because in the US they changed, like the summertime and wintertime is completely different days than in Poland. So just to add to it, but I must say that for me it was quite similar to what Adam said about using the connections that your supervisors already have, or friends of your supervisors already have. So asking about it, asking about mentors, it's always a great way to start. My second tip, and how I started the process of getting a Fulbright, was to look for the person that I wanted to be my mentor for my Fulbright, and see if he will be in Warsaw anytime soon. Because some of those researchers that we know about, they sometimes come to our country or to our city. So I actually met him after his lecture in University of Warsaw and asked him personally, just face to face, about possibility of collaborating. Because sometimes people won't answer your emails. And I think also nudging them about answering your emails is in no way wrong. It's the right approach, because they have a lot of stuff on their head. So I think it's also a great way. I was also thinking, when you send us the questions, about, so that, at least that's the way that I do it. I have one specific social media that's about my academic work. In my case, it's Twitter. So it's not like I'm mixing personal with public on Facebook or Instagram. I'm dedicating specifically Twitter for adding anyone that I like and that I want to follow. So that way I already have some sort of understanding on what they are working on currently, So if there's anything that is mixed with what I'm doing, there's a connection there. And that way you can also show those scientists that you are involved in their work and you are not only there to establish a connection that's nice for a CV, let's say, because you are literally following their work. And for different ways, what I did during like networking events, if I was a bit stressed about going there, I would take like a networking academic wingman with me. So that would be a person that I'm not alone, I'm with somebody, but their job is to help me talk with people. So there are the two of us that are talking with different people who are there. So it's a bit like a dating but academia version. And last but not least, I think international summer schools are a great way of connecting with international scholars in a setting that you don't feel like you're an intruder because you're already at the summer school. So, and it's also summer, so it's a bit like easier to focus on building those connections.
Thank you, Susanna. The idea of the wingman, right, is totally new to me. I don't know how about the rest of our guests, but I think it's really valuable for those who are struggling with these issues. Mate, can I ask you about the technical road to the international cooperation that you are?
Had it the easy way. Again, it was mandatory that we collaborate with each other because of this big group that is within the projects. So I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to refer to Susanna and what she said about social networks. And I think for academia, the Twitter or X, what is now called, and LinkedIn are the two main ones. And I think this is, I'm not doing it enough, but this is the main thing because a lot of scientists publish their publications in the social media because of the outreach, which is far better within the social media than, let's say, ResearchGate or some sites like that. And it's easy way just to send them a message via the social media to connect. And I think there is huge potential for networking within just the social media. And when we were talking about the events, I think it's there is not. I think that we're just when you're a PhD, you're just starting to climb the academia ladder, and you just don't be shy to ask the professors. You just approach them, ask them your question. I mean, they're used to, let's say, stupid questions, but because they know a lot about this topic, and you can, what is stupid question for them? Yeah, they said there is no stupid question, so just ask, just go ahead, just ask the question. Who knows when this conversation may lead to? So just don't be shy, just approach people, network, and people like people that talk a lot, so just talk.
Yeah, I wonder how to convince people who especially are perfectionists or would like to look at their best, and that is why they are avoiding these conversations and this kind of stuff, because they are not they not believe in yourself, in their abilities. Okay, so Violeta, can you say?
Yes. So, well, in my case, I didn't have to do much because University of Białystok has been cooperating with Al-Farabi University for many years, and we currently have over 120 international cooperation agreements. So, my path was very easy. Because we have this cooperation for years. And as I said before, my supervisor is very open to international cooperation, and she helped me very, very much with pursuing these kind of projects. And I think your supervisor will help you also if they see that you very want to try this kind of cooperation, and
it's good to have such an I don't want to say easy, but appropriate start.
Yeah.
So that everything is well prepared to start the international cooperation already at your scientific unit or the institution. Okay, so last but not least, Sulakha.
Yeah, so just to summarize with my own opinion, the comments of my colleague, so I do agree with all of them. So the three main tips I would say, or I always use to search for the scientists and for the international collaboration. So first, as Zun about and ResearchGate Twitter, I would just share the example of one of my colleagues. She just found a researcher on a dating app, literally, and now she is doing a project in England with him. So it's like, it's about the way how we communicate and how we make connection with others. Second thing to mention, to add up with the Adam, I do agree with the conferences and workshops. These are very important. We can say the events or where we can make a connection. I will share one of example. Like I was presenting my work on the Sustainable Development Conference in January this year in Malaysia. And one of the professor from University of Kyoto, she asked me to give a guest lecture to her students based on microplastics. And now this is like how we build a connection. And now I have a guest lecture for her students in 26 May. And after that, she asked me for a future collaboration. She was an economist and I am an environmentalist. So she said like how we can collaborate based on business side and environmental side. So this is like one of the example just with our discussion. And the third, last but not the least, is a good research skills. You should know how to search about the people related to you. For example, you can just find out, for example, with my example, I am working on a microplastics on top 5 or top 10 researchers on microplastics. So I will just go through the profile, then I will find the related interest of with the faculty, with the person, and then I will just write to them. And for sure, don't feel shy. The shyness is, we can say, the killing point for the international collaboration. So you just have to be, we can say, shyless if you really want to grow in the collaboration or make an international collaboration.
Thank you, Zulakha. So summarizing these questions, it seems like if this project would have the next edition, we should advocate for the workshop to how to fight with the shyness, how to cross this border to establish the international cooperation. Okay, so what is the next step after fighting this shyness connected with the benefits that you have from the international cooperation? What kind of it do you found most that very mostly important while you were collaborating internationally? What key benefits? Zulakha, so maybe now
Sure.
it's...
So if you will just kill your shyness, so the first most important benefit you will get is your boost in your academic and professional profile. I would say it will be a marketing of yourself. Like we have in business, we have a marketing of a product, but in a scientific, we can say in academia and in research, we have a person marketing. So if you collaborate and if you have an international corporation, it's a marketing of yourself. You are making yourself more productive and showing to the academia that you are, we can say, the talented person or most experienced or researched person. So if you are involving in international collaboration and working with the different cultures, different mindset, so it will give an impact to the other scientists or the top, we can say, the experts of your field to collaborate with you in future. So that's how you can motivate yourself, marketing yourself, boost your confidence, and work with the different cultures and different mindsets.
Thank you, Zulekha. Mate, what about your benefits that you are experiencing from the international cooperation?
Yeah, I would agree with Zulekha, and I think she made very good points. And yeah, it's one thing to be like successful in your country, in your nation, but when you do it at international level, that's a whole other thing. And for my field of agriculture, like what we have in our projects, when you have international connections and you have the same protocol and the same design for your experiments in throughout different countries, then your results can be applied, let's say, globally, and there is bigger impact of your work. So you're doing something really, which really makes a difference. So yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits. I mean, yeah, everything is a benefit with the international cooperation.
Yeah, we should conduct another webinar just on the benefits of the international cooperation, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mate. Violeta, what are your benefits from the international cooperation that you are?
Yes, so it is, the excellent opportunity to improve communication skills, the first. But in my case, a perfect example of how much good international cooperation brings is the joint article published in scientific reports. So it's the big milestone for my achievements, scientific achievements. And, it's such connection of scientific centers facilitates the publication of data and increases the value of such a publication. Because my center is the best in microbiological science, in molecular genetics, and other maybe is the best in chemistry, So we can connect our best area of expertise and publish really good data and really good articles with high impact factors, for example. Yes. And you can also learn about new cultures, because it seems too obvious, but I don't know a lot of Kazakhstan before. And after I met my PhD friend from them, I learned about a new country, and I wanted to visit. Before, I don't want to, yeah.
But I think it's not a surprise that you are excited about the country that you haven't heard about, but thanks to the international cooperation, you see things that you don't see on the internet, for example, right?
We think that maybe, Kazakhstan, what can they do, we think their technologies are maybe so not modern, but I was wrong. It seems to be like they're very good, for example, in chemistry or different technological aspects of science.
Yes, so another benefit is fighting with prejudice.
If it's okay, just to jump the line, just to make one note now, Violeta reminded me. Yeah, I want to say interdisciplinarity nowadays in research. I think the whole point in without the networking, it's not possible. And with the changes of bureaucracy, of environments, climate changes, and so on, this interdisciplinarity is, I think, the most important things nowadays. Just for the good publication, and I mean the science needs it. We cannot know all about everything. And the complexity of the problems nowadays, we just need this interdisciplinarity. So yeah, that's why people need to network.
Yes, thank you, Mati, for this input. And it's a very good point about the publications, especially in the light of our obligations of doing good publications with lots of points and etc. So, Adam, what are your key benefits from the international cooperation in academia?
So I think there is a few groups of these benefits. I also agree with my colleagues which speak before. So the first group is the things which are connected with our development. Like Zlaka has said, we are the products for the science. We want to develop our CVs. We want to develop our recognition in the science. So I think it's very important thing to be well known, at least in our discipline. So as I, for example, sometimes read the articles of other people, later I can meet them on the conferences. So I had these situations few times in my life, especially in the Polish conferences, when I meet the most famous Polish scientists which are in the same topic, just like me. The second thing is the new access for the new methods, for the new devices, for the new resources. In your future research, sometimes you will get new ideas which need the modern techniques how to check something. This is especially important in materials engineering, in the chemistry, because we have limited funds and sometimes we cannot find new types of the machines. And I wanted to make some research in using new types of microscopy, and I wasn't able to do that in my university. That's why we found a cooperation with my supervisor friends from Spain. And now we are preparing a really good article. We aim at really good journals with impact factor over 10, and this article is almost finished. So it will has really nice output, our collaboration. The next thing is the possibility of the knowledge exchange. So we can interact with other people and, like we said before, get new point of view in case of our research, what will give us new possibilities in the future, because we will not be always PhD students. Soon we all will be doctors, we all will be the captains of our ships, and then we have to find our own road to our career, and this networking, this possibility of knowledge exchange will help us in development of our career, of our research projects. Because after finishing my PhDs, I want to set my own projects, not to work as always as someone in the project, but we all have this ambition, I think, to set new targets in our new aims in our career. So I think it will be a shortcut in our career to have such a people in different countries with different perspectives, which are way much more valuable than just equipment.
Thank you, Adam, for this input. And going back to the social sciences and humanities point of view, Zuzanna, what are your key benefits from the international cooperation?
So I think I want to start with a high note and go back to what Matej said about bringing your research to a more broad spectrum of viewers. I think coming from Poland, and similarly, I assume Pakistan or Croatia, we are not the main players in world economies, in world academics. And I think it's so important for us to remind those big players that our perspective is equally important because it brings diversity and it brings cultural practices, understanding, research, tradition of academics that is not accessible to them because they don't speak our languages, that they don't have the experience of living from more periphery standpoint. And I must say that bringing this perspective, for example, to the US has been so interesting in kind of nudging them to look differently at things. Currently, I'm working in disability studies more, and it's so interesting to see how disability studies can be a different topic in the US and in Poland, with different level of medical, let's say, of a different medical system, of seeing human body differently, and so on. So my personal growth has been this, so a long-term game of playing academia in a way that I think benefits more than just me, but also bringing this Polish perspective to the West. And I must say that it's interesting to see how, seeing those, everyone talked about understanding cultures differently, learning about new countries. I think it's also interesting in how we can discover research gaps that you wouldn't be able to discover if you don't go somewhere or if you don't talk with somebody. And personally, I feel like I've been changing a lot. Like I've been understanding my own cultural identity differently when I can see it from the outsider's perspective. When I go somewhere and I'm not in my community, I'm not in my context, I have to talk about my context. I have to explain myself. And it can be tiring, but it's also, at least for me, a great source of growth.
Thank you, Susanna, very much for this input. And since we stepped into the topic of the cultural issues and language issues, please let me skip some questions and move to this question about the language and cultural barriers. Have you experienced one, and how did you overcome them, if so, of course? Zuzanna, so maybe you'll be the first. I know that it may be Zulekha's favorite questions, but Zulekha, after you.
Okay, I will present an introduction for Zulekha then. For me, it's so interesting to be able to speak English, but sometimes the way that I use English is different than the native speakers or different collaborators. So if I want to point out to a very specific barrier that I encountered, is that I can talk a lot, but I will be understood completely different by people from other cultures. So I think what's here is that what Alexandra said before, we can use our language differently because we use different metaphors, we use different imaginary, to which we are pointing out when we are using specific language. So that's one of the barriers. The other one is that academic systems can be so different, and the way that you're supposed to address people, and the way the flexibility of savoir-vivre of the academia can be so different. So I think it's important to establish your background very thoroughly, so people have a certain expectation about you and don't have certain expectations about you. So that I would say these are the two biggest things that I encountered.
Thank you, Susanna. So Zulekha, can you follow this?
Yeah, sure. I will. I do agree with Susanna. By the way, the language barrier is the biggest, we can say, the miscommunication thing, and we can say the lack of miscommunication and lack of information we get during the collaboration in international things. So if I will compare my work with international organizations in Thailand and Poland, so the project I was a part of in Thailand, most of the communication was in English, so that was not active. And we do have like regular meetings every week, and also a very good communication. But if I will compare with the Poland, So here most of the communication is in Polish, and I have to translate each and everything, and it's up to the Google, whatever information it wants me to give. So it's quite problematic for me, like for the language barrier thing. Another second barrier, I would say, the mentality of different people, mentality of different cultures. So if we will talk about the specific continents, like Asian continents, European continents, then currently, so the way of a people perceive the things and address the problems and highlight the issues is completely different. So I am still learning about the culture of Poland specifically, but so far it's so good. There is no problem, but sometimes you feel like you have to satisfy your colleagues. You have to make them feel like you doesn't have any kind of problem, but you do have some problems with the project. So you wanna discuss on that, but that doesn't mean you have a problem with the person. But it's about the mentality. Sometimes people think in other way. So they think maybe if we are commenting and asking a lot of questions, we are pulling them back. So this is like how we have to, as the international students or international participants in the projects, we have to understand each and everyone mentality and deal with every person differently. So this is like an art of your communication or of your behavior, and this is like the skill and your personality, how you will deal with different cultures, different languages, and different people. And same, you have to manage your personal life, you have to manage your professional life without creating any kind of conflict. And the last barrier, I would say, last but not the least for sure, I experience is about the, we can say, the superiority of some people. This also belongs to the mindset. Like some people think whatever solution they are giving, it's the last solution, but that is not. They are not open to accept the others' opinion. So while you are working with an international group, so acceptance of the other opinion and the open mindset is quite complicated sometimes. Some people doesn't like to accept the other's opinion and then implement while they are presenting their solutions. So this is like quite problematic when you are working with different mindsets and different peoples.
Thank you, Zulakan. It seems like you both have high psychological skills because you've noticed very important things connected with the cultural aspects of existing in different academia environments. Adam, could you say something from your point of view about these barriers, the cultural and language barriers?
Sure, I agree with Zuzanna and Zulaka, and maybe I will introduce some storytelling here because I want to tell you something what happened 10 years ago, because younger Adam, when he finished his Matura exam, so this is the exam at the end of the high school, was looking for a job, and he found a job in Germany, and his German wasn't so perfect. He passed the Matura exam in German, but he was really shy guy. He wasn't as you know him today, and when he came to Germany, he could speak German, but he couldn't do that because he was ashamed that he cannot speak so fluently German. But after some time, when he noticed that his friends already overcome their stress, he learned some more German practical language, because the practical language is totally different what they teach us in the schools, what we learn from the movies, from the TV series, because sometimes I'll also watch them, and it's very important to learn this practical language, and it could be a huge problem for a communication abroad, especially in science. When you go abroad to learn something, and it blocks partially, but it also can block completely. People when they have to overcome this stress. And this also blocks the opportunity to get along with these people and stops the scientific progress. And in my opinion, it's one of the most popular and most common things which may happen when you go abroad to the different countries. You said about these cultural problems. I never had them because I didn't cooperate so strictly with people with totally different culture. But I think the Latvia and the Spain is quite similar to our Polish culture, and but I think it's very important to help these people to get along, because I'm also working with the PhD students self-government, and I noticed a lot of problems which PhD students from abroad can have in our university. In Gdańsk University of Technology, we have around 35% of people from abroad, and they met a lot of different problems. Like Zulaka said, we didn't have translated documents, and these people had to copy-paste these documents to the Google Translate or deeply to know what kind of rules they have in the university, and it could be huge stress for them to even pass the year, because the program of teaching was also only in Polish. The university very quickly translated them, but still, when they came to the Poland, still some documents wasn't prepared from the beginning. But university make a great job. Now they are really translated well, and the people don't have these problems. But still, I heard that still in some smaller universities or research institutes in Poland, they didn't translate these documents. So I think it's very important thing which will help to know what they should. I'm missing the word. What they should expect in the Polish university.
Yes, and this is the thing about the translation of the documents. This is the thing that foreign students or doctoral candidates in Poland.
Because I think by nationality we are very similar, but language barrier, yeah, that's a big problem. So I'm a PhD student and I'm employed as an assistant. So then the administration of and all the documents, yeah, they were all in Polish, and yeah, it's very problematic. And the aspect of taxation of Europe and all the other things needs to be done in Polish. Of all the problems that PhD students have, and the tasks, the amount of tasks that we have, our classes, the classes that we give to the students, and then all these problems, it really can be a headache. And I think there's a difference between when you are studying in other country and doing your PhD in other country, and for international communication and networking, because with networking, you usually work with people that already has international experience and already speak very good English. So I think this is not a problem. But when you are studying in another country, that can be quite some problem with the administration first and foremost. But then again, some of your other colleagues within your department who are maybe older or maybe shyer, yeah, it's language barrier, and which leads to poor socialization, and then with that you don't have any cooperation with these people. So yeah, I think language barrier is a very big problem.
Yes, thank you, Matej. And some say that our languages are very similar. Not for me, and I see that for you too. So
they always speak to me in Polish, and I mean I understand a little bit, but yeah, very little parts. So yeah.
Exactly. Violetta, I think
Can I just add one thing to what Matej said? What I'm doing here about it, I'm at UIC. There is a Slavic Studies department, so I go there whenever I feel alone or like I want to participate in my culture. So I know you both are from more STEM sciences, but maybe a department that works in your culture is a good resource for knowing things and for connections that are more according to your culture.
But if I can say, when I was a part of the Erasmus Plus, they had like ESN. I don't know, did you hear about it? And I think there are great communities, and the PhD students are lacking something like this for themselves, or maybe I'm not aware of, but just a note.
Thank you. So, Violeta can also have some contribution to Slavics, and I think we are very curious about what did you found interesting in the Kazakhstan's culture. That's gonna be to go there.
Yeah, maybe I can tell you about. I had funny situation because when a young scientist from Kazakhstan told me that her university is located very close to her family home. So she said me it is a distance that required a 3-day journey, by the train. So it turned out that even distance can be perceived differently, For her, 3-day journey is not too long. And so yes, this kind of funny situation. But I think that the key to fight with the barriers is the ability to understand our cultural differences, and sometimes it requires a lot of courage to challenge stereotypes, because we all have some assumption about people from other countries, and I think the willingness to build bridges between people of different backgrounds is very important, because all of us have some different life experience. We were born in different cultures, and it's very important to remember and to sometimes even to talk about this, because I have the situation when we want to go for lunch together, and it turns out that one of our colleagues can't eat some type of food because of their religion. So just we need to choose the place where she can find what she can eat, and that's it. I think we should be patient with each other and listen to each other, and it's the key for communication and for good working together, good cooperation.
Yes, and I think in this kind of issues you have to be very sensitive for the others. So maybe here would be the moment for the questions about effective communication, both science and both cultural communication. What is your opinion about it? How to cross these borders in academic and professional settings where you are involved in. So, Matej, maybe we start from you now with these questions.
Yeah, so my opinions are different. I think it mostly depends on the established professor, let's say, if we talk about this context, because I had some professors. I differentiate in like the old school and the new school. The old school professor that are really like stiff and talk very formal. It's here there is some difficulty because if you see he's like this, you're gonna keep the formal conversation, and I think this is not good from either side. And I think it's really hard to work for a person like this. But I met a lot of new professors, I mean, that are not that young. I'm not going to talk about the years now, but this new...
They are experienced.
Yeah. And the difference these new school professors is they like to that you refer them by their name, and I mean when you refer them by your name, then again all these difficulties and your thoughts about what I'm gonna say, am I gonna say something wrong? All this is easier. I don't know. They make it easier for you. So I think, yeah, like first name basis for me, it's I think good way to to bring the walls down and for better communication. And I don't want to mix the private and the private life with the formal, but yeah, I think when someone it's easier to talk to. Yeah, it a lot depends on the speaker that you speak.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Maciej. Zulakha, can you say something about the issue of the effective communication?
Well, based on my experience, I would say the effective communication is the responsibility of each and every person collaborating in a project. But if we say only 1 or 2% high responsibility is a project manager, either your supervisor, either it's you. It's a responsibility of a project manager to make a healthy workplace environment and to make everyone feel relaxed, feel peaceful, feel like important in the team. So I would say the good communication comes from the leadership of the project manager, leadership qualities of project manager. And if you really want to get good results in your project, you have to listen to each and everyone. And as Adam also mentioned about the language barrier in Germany, so right now I'm also facing some kind of language barrier in Poland. So it's up to the Google, whatever want me to give the information. So whenever I translate the document, so sometimes it's a gap in this communication. So it's mean if we are lacking the information, proper information, there is the input, whatever input we will give, it will not be the 100%. And also, if you feel like you have something in your heart, you have some points you want to discuss, but you can't just because no one interested to hear. So I don't think you take the first management or managing the establishing the good workplace environment specifically. So if I will say give the example of my university here in my department. So the head dean of my department, he is quite nice person and he looks like a friend. So as anyone can just cross by this room and can say hello, how are you, and can share the problems. So this is like how the things working. But if I would say in Thailand, so the professor, like the magic said, like some professor doesn't like if we will pronounce them with a name, and this is not a problem in Europe, but in Asian countries we do have this kind of problem. Professors and the seniors doesn't like to be called by the name. So if we will call them by name, it's a big issue, and it considered as a disrespect to the person. So these kind of things, I would say, can be a barrier in the communication, and the project manager should take the responsibility, and at least someone take the accountability to manage with this kind of communication barrier in the projects.
Thank you, Zulakha. And I've noticed Susanna and Violetta hardly shaking their heads. I suppose that with the agreement of what you said. So, Susanna, could you follow this?
I agree greatly with what Zulakha said, especially because sometimes I feel like with the change of approach to with creating doctoral schools in Poland, there has been too much pressure on us to take every accountability point on ourselves. So I love the point about the manager of the project being responsible for creating a good, healthy working environment. But what I want to add to it is that in humanities you work much more alone, or you are, I think, much more often a prime investigator compared to STEM sciences. But what was very helpful for me is being very open about questioning everything, not questioning, about asking questions about everything that comes up, especially if I know that there is a person who works in a different field, because that's also a different culture, right? Political sciences are very different than cultural sciences in approach to how you do stuff, how you establish hypotheses, how you collaborate and all that. And then I think when you collaborate with a person, I had a lot of like mentorship kind of relationships in academia. I like to establish from the get-go what are our ways of working. So how many times a month does a person want me to write an email and I did? Or how many times should we meet? What are their review of what's a successful project? Because a successful project can be described very differently in different cultures. So that's mainly what I do. And then I like to talk a lot about my culture. So they remember that even though I am white, and this is in America, even though I am white, I am from a different cultural field, cultural space. So they remember that, because I think that we are very much visual creatures, we humans. And just to add a bit of a different space, it's interesting when we talk about successful communication in deaf studies, because I had to collaborate with American deaf people and then Polish deaf and Ukrainian deaf. And it's interesting to see this kind of establishing of basic, when you start to communicate in international deaf space, you have to establish how do you sign certain things. So I think it's a good thing to take back to a spoken community, a hearing community, because you literally have to establish the definitions of particular words and understanding of particular
Opinion about
Yes, I agree. I agree with Zuzanna that the most important is an environment where everyone feel respected and valuated. And sometimes it's as simple as that. When you explain a task for someone, you can do it slowly and you can do it twice if there is need for this. I personally sometimes doing kind of diagrams to better explain my colleague what to do, because in laboratory work, it's easy to go the wrong way and all experiment can fail. So I think the most important is to be patient with each other, to don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't understand something, some task, just ask, and I will explain it again and again if there is need for that. So yeah.
Thank you, Violetta. And Adam, what is your insight in it?
So first of all, I want to agree with all of my colleagues, because they mentioned very, very important things: the healthy environment, the respect for other cultures. But I want to tell you about a different thing, totally different thing, because in my opinion, we have a lot of different devices, different programs which can help us in the development of our communication. First of all, the different applications, different possibilities to learn the languages, but recently we have more and more possibilities how to improve our communication of our talk, even the phone talk with people which are abroad. And in my opinion, if the technology will develop in the same velocity, the same speed in the future, the communication problems will be way much easier to resolve. At the moment we will meet the problem. So I think the scientists are working on such a tasks, and in the future I think we'll have more and more devices to resolve these problems. And at the end, I want to add something to Violetta thoughts, because in my opinion, the visualization of data and visualization of some processes are very important in the case of teaching some what they have to do. And this one will help to remember the people, the process, or even the things which are approved in some places. So the visualization is it's a key factor to help some people to resolve some problems here.
Thank you, Adam. And maybe this innovative activity, such as visualization, which are maybe not very like the newest thing in science, yes, but it's still developing. It would be the part of successful projects, and successful projects which were mentioned also by Zuzanna. And about those successful projects and or collaboration, I would like to ask you now, would you provide us with the example of such a successful collaboration that you were part of regarding the international cooperation, and what lessons did you learn from it? So Adam, maybe you'll be the first here.
Sure. I think I have three main successes in this case. I have more small successes, but in my opinion, the three are the most important of it. The first of all is my first ever internship, which I participated in Latvia, because I think it was the game changer in my life, because in my scientific life, not before. I mentioned that before I worked in other countries, but in my scientific life it was game changing, because after this scholarship, this internship, I noticed the importance of international collaboration. I thought that I can do almost everything in Poland, in our domestic universities, but the different perspective really showed me a lot of things in the science. And this thing helped us in the development of our article, which is already published, and we have authors from two universities, and I think this gives a really the visibility of our work, and in the future career, for example, when we will go for a postdoc, it also shows that we already have an experience. So in my opinion, it will be very important in case of my career. The second thing is my cooperation with the Basque Country University, because there we made really huge part of my research topic in totally different perspective, because I came to them with my samples and I wanted to check only one thing. But when we started checking these samples, everything changed, totally everything. And now I expected only the basic results, but the results are really promising. And in my opinion, they are really rare. And in the scientific literature, I see only maybe 2 articles in the whole literature similar to these results. So I think it's really a huge success, and when we will finish this research work, it could be really high cited, and it could be published in a really good journal. So this is the second one, and the third one is recent. It was made during my recent work for the Łukasiewicz Research Center, because I'm helping with the development of international programs, and in our research team we are looking for international programs, like I said before, mRNA programs, and we already wrote 2 such a programs to such a projects, and like I said before, I was looking for the institutions which could be interested. I contacted with a lot of institutes, a lot of universities, and we have a few options, but we selected the best one in our opinion, and the projects are finished, and I hope the results will be positive, because in my opinion, it's also the indicator of effective scientists, that they have international recognition in the scientific projects.
So we keep our fingers crossed to this. Thank you. Violeta, how about you? How about your successful collaboration that you could provide us with?
So as I mentioned before, it was like a joint article in scientific reports in the Nature portfolio, which I don't think I can publish by myself without the international cooperation. Also, I taking part in some kind of course for next generation sequencing data, and it was like in Czech Republic company. So it was also very important milestone for me, because it allowed me to find another method for my science research. Yes, and in the future I planned some kind of experiments with scientists from Argentina, because they have very interesting material like propolis, and we want to try how it works with antibiotic resistant bacteria, which is my second part of the research field. So yes, I think these two are the main projects I work with, and it have a great contribution to my achievements.
Is it the same propolis connected with honey?
Yes, the same, but from the different plants, because we don't have the same, and I think that will be very interesting output from this research.
Okay, so we are waiting with excitement to that. Matej, what about your successful collaboration?
So we did my project, and now publications are underway, not yet published. But this just the opportunity to work with this broad amount of people, genetics, statisticians, and I'm learning every day new things, and I mean, just to highlight this interdisciplinarity, and it's precious. I think nowadays in academia, just to have a different opinion on the same topic is, I think, a very valuable thing.
Thank you so much. Susanna?
So I would say that the most because depth studies, it's not just a starting field in Poland, but the more cultural approach, less pedagogical approach is quite new in Poland. So it's interesting to be able to talk with people and to collaborate with people with different countries where cultural approach to deaf culture, to deaf communities has been established quite a long time ago. So from that, what I was able to get was, for example, a difference in creating sign names, which are like names that are created by the deaf community for people who are a part of it. And it's never been written about how it can be different for different countries. So I am currently working on a piece about that. It's also interesting how, before bringing more periphery perspective to the West, can show the West what they don't know about themselves, in a sense. And there is a very important book that, in a way, establishes disability studies. It's called Nothing About Us Without Us. And because I'm here at UIC, the person who wrote this book is a him. Scientists learned it from Eastern Europe because it's the name of Polish first quasi-constitution, Michlinowi. So it's so interesting how, being from Poland, you can understand those connections that being from the US, you would never think that a phrase that current disability studies is using is actually a phrase that was taken from the Eastern Europe. So that has been like a big development for me. And what Adam said, it's hard to pinpoint exact things when you are expanding your mind so much that you wouldn't be able to work the same way and be sure of yourself on the same level as you are after those collaborations.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for this curiosity. Actually, I was sure that everyone knows that he comes from Poland, and now it is clear that not. Okay, Zolaka, could you tell us about your successful collaboration, an example of the successful collaboration, and what you have learned from this?
Yes, so I would say the project, the Thailand project specifically, I would consider it as a successful project because there wasn't any language barrier for sure, and also the people were quite open, and the project manager also was very friendly, and they knows how to keep the good workplace environment. And the key benefit that I get from that project is specifically my collaboration and participation with different perspective of research. I would just highlight one example of my work from one professor from Pakistan, and she was a professor of sociology, and I am an environmentalist, and we did research with a collaborative research based on the role of AI in a women's security, specifically in Asian specific countries. So this is like not my field, but I have a chance to explore the new field and to collaborate and combine my field. As much I said before, that this is an era when we are combining two different fields and two different, we can say, the programs, and bringing something new, we're bringing something more innovative. So I do agree with that, and this is one example of my collaboration with the professor in Pakistan, and the research we did, and that research was presented in a conference in Japan, and currently on a paper publication stage. And I do agree with the Violeta about the conference and the paper publication. So this is like the effective, I can say, the example. And the second benefit I get from the international collaboration is a strong networking, and we can say the marketing of the academic profile. So like I have a good connection if I want to pursue with different ideas and different research projects in future. So this is like how we communicate and how we will keep the people in touch in remaining into the scientific community. So these are the 2 or 3 key benefits I get from the projects of Thailand. And I consider that project as a successful project because the project to be successful, first of all, you have to satisfy each and every person or a member collaborating into the project and making them feel important, like their opinion matters, their voice matters. As Zuzana said, like working with US, let them know like our voice is also important. So in a good project, everyone should know their voice is important, and that is a accountability and responsibility of a project manager to give the value to each and everyone participating in the project. Then we can have a productive outcome and everyone happy in the project.
Thank you, Zolaka, so much for this input. And now I have a feeling that during this whole interview, you all covered both the issues that advanced you while doing an international cooperation, especially within the domestic context. And there, between the lines, we heard lots of things that students and PhD candidates who wants to establish an international cooperation could take into their notes while starting such a cooperation. So if you want to add something for those two topics, we will appreciate it so much, and we could also combine it with the last question about your future and vision of the future of the international cooperation in the academia and professional fields. So I think we can blow our minds right now and take a big step into the future and go for some dreams. So maybe Mate, if you could say something on this.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question about envision of the future of
the international cooperation in academia?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the whole Europe, and like I said, a lot of grants are now given for this cause, and I think that everybody knows how important this is, and how impact works can be the cause of this combining of the other sciences from other nations. And yeah, I think everybody knows the importance of this, and it will just grow and grow. And I think it would be easier and easier. And yeah, I hope that there will be a lot of other grants for its interdisciplinarity and for ability to move to another country. And I just want to say there is a big difference when you go to some conference and when you can have exchange and secondments in another laboratory or university, because when you have 6 months or 1 year time that you can spend in another university, then you can really make an effort to get some data, to get some publishing done.
Most important tip for those who want to start the international cooperation? This will be the question to you all, so be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, just start it. be perseverant. Just write. Don't be afraid of failures, because they're gonna happen, and they're gonna happen a lot. I think it's just part of life. So just don't look back and just go for it. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, keep moving forward. This is the sentence. Violeta, what about your insights to this, about the envision of the future of the international cooperation in academia? And if you want to add something else, please feel free.
So I hope that there will be even more such cooperation projects, and in the future. And I dream that international research will be the norm, not a rarity. Because I think now we have not enough this kind of projects, cooperation, especially in small units like small universities, small research centers. And to all of who wants to start this kind of international cooperation, one advice: keep an open mind. We can find common ground because we all are scientists. So I think it's the great point to start our relationships and community, because I think it's the thing we all have shared together, the life of a scientist.
Thank you, Violeta, and I assume that was your tip. Thank you. Adam, what about your insights to the envision of the future?
Sure. in my opinion, the biggest insight for me is the increase of the transdisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity, because in my opinion, sometimes we close too much in our research topic, and it needs to be it had to be revised by another scientist which have different perspective. For example, my topic, as I am the material engineer, was revised by the chemical scientists, but also, in my opinion, someone who is keen on the chemical engineering also take a look on my research ideas and also have a huge impact in my projects. But in my opinion, if we will add someone who will study the social impact of my research, it also could be very useful in case of broadening the perspective of my research. So this thing is about this going beyond the discipline and combining different perspectives in the research. And the next thing is the technology, because now we can see the huge step towards the new type of devices which are based on artificial intelligence. For, I don't know, for some time you are using different chatbots, different devices to same research as me, and the computer will look and will point me out the most similar researchers in the world which could be interesting for me. So it could be very useful. And you also ask for a tip for the young scientists. Oh, for me, the biggest, the best tip when I was on the first year of my PhD study, it was start early. Do not wait with the cooperation, because I started this during the end of my second year, and I think it was way too late. And when we will start the cooperation earlier, like Matej said, during, for example, during our master's study or even bachelor's degree, we will have more developed communication skills. We will learn more about the culture, about the technologies. I think it is the main drawback of my research career that I didn't start it earlier, the development of my person and my scientific profile. So start as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Zuzanna, what about you?
So, about the future, if I can dream for a moment, I would say that I'd love to see more international collaboration in the studies, but in Eastern Europe and Asia. If we could do it, that would be the great advantage for the studies, because I feel like it's been all about the US, because they had a specific situation, historical situation, which allowed their studies to develop a bit earlier. But let's start thinking about the different connections in the world. And I, in no disrespect to the US, but I think we need to understand better our part of the world. So that's my big dream, that we will be able to do it. And in terms of tips, it's a thing that I really believe in, is that you have to believe in your project and you have to be in love with your project. If there are things that are currently on top or are very hot to discuss, to research, it's all right. But if you don't like it, don't do it. Because whatever hotness of your topic will be, if you don't believe in it, it won't be feasible for you to work on it for 4+ years of PhD. And if you are going into certain field, there is certain movement that you can do later on in changing your topic. So it's not like you are chained to your topic until the end of your career, but it's important for you to be very excited about it. And when I started learning Polish Sign Language when I was in high school, so in 2014, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, deaf community wasn't that much talked about in Poland. People told me that I will not succeed in any way, that I will not have a future with this topic. And like, times are changing. So if you believe in it, you'll persevere. So I think that's important. And it's important for collaborating with people, because from that you can gain a sort of self-confidence that can break walls and barriers.
Yes, so we have to definitely be passionate. Zulakha, what about your?
Yeah, sure. Again, just to summarize my colleague opinions with my own opinions, I would say the future projects will be more interdisciplinary and digital integrated projects. I do believe with Voleta and Adam, they mentioned about the interdisciplinary approaches and the digital integration of the project. So right now it's the era of AI and digital stuff. So most of the analytical things and the use of AI in different international projects, we can say grab the interaction or grab the interest of different funding organizations and the different collaborative organizations. In terms of recommending our students and the future scientists, young researchers, in terms of starting any international cooperation, I just highlight 4 or 5 points just to keep in mind while you are going to proceed or planning to go for the international collaboration. First of all, remember about the mutual benefit. So mutual benefit of your project and what will be the benefit of the other party, other entity taking a part or collaborating with your project. So just keep in mind while you are proposing your proposal for collaboration, so you just have to bring the mutual benefit of both parties. Second suggestion I would suggest for our young scientists and students to seek information for the specific targeted group. Which group you want to collaborate, because here is a lot of organizations and a lot of information. What specifically you want to do and with whom you should be specified, and there should be a clarity before starting any international collaboration. Third thing I mentioned is finding common interest among the different organizations, why they have to collaborate with you. So bringing up the common interest and their benefits again. For the most important, I would say, in the current scenario of the world is improving your analytical skills, the technical skills. Those are students, what I just observed in the most of the scientific projects and while having the experience of teaching the master students, our students are lacking with the digital skills or analytical skills, I would say. So the coming word for in terms of the conferences, in terms of the publication, in terms of the scientific projects, what is the world is looking for currently is a good visualization or good interpretation of data. How you will interpret your results, how you will show to the scientific communities, to the general public, to the audience. So I will recommend to the young scientists and the future, our upcoming researchers to focus on improving the analytical skills. And the last but not the least is keep learning, and keep learning.
Thank you so much. And with this insight, we came to the end of our interview. So please accept my great gratitude for your presence here, for your contributions, for all your words. I really believe that our audience have many valuable insight to that after our interview. So thank you so much for spending our afternoon, especially that we are starting a holiday tomorrow. So have a great weekend. Thank you again, and see you somewhere in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hearing us. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.